Hi there, and welcome to Lorena's Labyrinth today. If you're a newbie to the channel, thanks for joining us. I want to take this opportunity, obviously, to acknowledge subscribers, new and old. If you're a returning visitor, thank you so much for your ongoing support. As usual, I just want to remind people that if you like the comment, please do click that little thumbs up thingy. And if you have questions, I invite you to ask them. If you've got comments to make, if you feel that stuff is not relatable or whatever, you're still invited to make comments because it's all part of us growing and developing who and what we are. So all comments are welcome and appreciated. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to crack on with today's video, and this is focused on the colour yellow. I hope you like the image of this bee. I know insects aren't always appealing to everybody, but for some reason, I just loved this image. I love this little bee here. Let me know what you think. So when we talk about the colour yellow, as you see here, it is central to the whole chakra system. It is the colour of the solar plexus in its purity. Okay, so we're talking about a pure yellow here. Now, the attributes of the yellow chakra are generally around faith, hope, trust, and strength. And depending on whether or not it's vibrating at a healthy function or not, it's going to represent whether we carry those traits or if we basically distrust people, we lack hope, we're feeling weak and vulnerable, this kind of thing. So that's the spin-off of it if it's not functioning well. However, I think it's more important to actually mention the fact that when we talk about the yellow chakra or the solar plexus, we're actually talking about personal power, which is not really something we're going to talk about a lot with this video. But the reason being I want to mention it here is because it's such an important chakra. When we have a healthy yellow chakra, basically we're centered, we're in perfect balance. And that means that we are not off with the fairies and ungrounded. It means that we're not bogged down by our base survival needs. You would expect, as an example, somebody that was living in a war-torn environment or experiencing homelessness is going to have a blockage or an overactive red chakra, okay? Because clearly there's going to be things happen that is going to trigger a reaction. Now, let's say that a person was in a war zone, the sound of gunshots or something like that might trigger a reaction. They automatically know when they hear that, they have to make a risk assessment. Is it sounding close? Is it a long way away? Now, if they are reacting to the stimuli, they might automatically dive under the bed or something like that, when actually it might be a case of grab your personal items, head on out the door and get away from the sounds. I mean, this could even be the same with an earthquake or something like that. You have to have capacity to act upon your base survival needs in any situation and to make an informed and healthy decision. Now, this is what happens when the yellow chakra is focusing or is functioning well, but the environment is not necessarily supportive of full health and well-being. But at the end of the day, too, that you can still be, this is where the saying, I think it's a Buddhist saying, where you can still be peaceful and calm within a world of craziness. And that is because you connect with the crown chakra, as you see here, and the higher energies. Even if you're living in turmoil, you can still be peaceful and be making wise decisions within the context of your situation. So the yellow is centered. It is neither too high nor too low. We're able to make practical decision makings. Now, this is about stepping into our power as well. But the other thing that's really important, and I'm going to talk about this here on the next slide, because when we talk about power and personal power, it's got a lot of implications for a lot of people. Now, when we talk about power and personal power, we're also talking about feeling powerless. And certainly my experiences and understandings of this is gathered in the Western environment. And what I find is people who have had their trust breached in significant ways, and this can be people that have experienced trauma, it could be domestic violence. Generally, there's a moral aspect of the betrayal, if you like. It could be the system has let them down and the system failed to protect them. It could be due to an injustice. It's where there is this feeling of wrongdoing or having been done to a person. And what that does is create not only the victim mentality. Now, I'm not passing a judgment here on whether or not the person is justified in having or feeling victimized, because let's be real, quite often they were the victims of other people or circumstances. And this can include situations such as workplace bullying, anything really. You would be encouraged to reflect on this yourself. But where I'm going with this is the only way to heal and move on from it is to unclog the victim mentality. And this is what we would like to do with the function of the yellow chakra, is accepting that these things happened. They weren't the consequence of something you did or didn't do. You may genuinely have been a victim of something, but the point is that this is where this idea of you can't let the past dictate your future comes in. Because if you carry that injustice with you throughout your life, what happens is every time you're put into a situation, it becomes that fear and base survival rules and dictates how you're going to act and behave in any given situation. But if we have been victimized, so I'm not going to go into scenarios here because that will make it a bit negative, of how a person can be betrayed. But the reality is that we can have experienced these massive injustices, but when we connect to the divine, rather than live through this fear-based future that might be on the cards for us unless we make some personal changes and change our attitudes, the reality is we will respond in reactive ways and potentially compound our situations, have these repeating patterns because we haven't healed that initial feeling of injustice and victimization. So the idea is that you raise your energy and your vibration, you balance out the yellow chakra, and you refuse to remain powerless in your life. You step up to the plate and you become the driver of your own destiny, if you like. And when we are in alignment with divine will, we are able to act on our intuitive guidance. So risks may reoccur. We may find ourselves in similar situations where we actually were hurt and betrayed in the past, but we're going to be able to recognize the risks earlier and then make that response. So if we were to use the example that I had before of the person hearing the gunshots in the distance and thinking, oh, wow, I'm going to jump under the bed and be remaining there until the threat arrived and end of life stuff. What this means is that you will see the warnings or hear the warnings earlier, and rather than stay put and let bad stuff happen to you, you will be able to then make an educated, informed decision, even if it's a case of following intuition and learning how to follow your intuition and your sense of personal power. Actually, I'm going to give you a tip in this video as well as to how you can establish if it's divine intuition, that gut instinct, or if it's your fears dictating to you. But you can get yourself away, and when you do that and you take yourself to a place of safety where you are not hurt, then you've stepped into your power. And I want to mention here on this, before I go on to the next tip and strategy, is that there is sometimes conflicting messages that are all true and relevant, but they're all contextual as well. Because if we do the whole of life as, I'm just a leaf flowing down the river bed and I bounce from place to place, and I don't resist, stepping into your power isn't about becoming non-resistant. It's about embracing your power. When we float along with life and we don't do anything to help navigate the journey, then basically we can continue to be the victim of circumstances. And I think before I go on to the next slide as well, that what I'm going to mention here about stepping into your power, there is a recognition as well that involves being aware of the limitations of your individual and personal power. So let's say that you were the water in the river that flows through life and not the leaf. You come up against a barrier or an obstacle, and that's the rock. So if we are being flexible and going with the flow of life, we find a way around the obstacle. However, if we as en masse keep encountering this great big rocky obstacle, the force of the mass is what erodes the obstacle. we as a little individual water atom, even a small group, is not going to make a huge difference to that rock face. It's over time, it's through patience, endurance, and with the group acting, if we're looking to create change with these really big environmental issues that we might face. But anyway, on with the video. So the part of stepping into personal power can be difficult is knowing, right? Knowing whether you're listening to the chatter of your mind, if you're listening to your fear, or if you are actually listening to your intuitive guidance. And this is what I want to talk about here, because this is why I say the sacral solar plexus chakra is so important, okay? And this is because obviously when we're in a situation, I'll use actually the war zone thing, because I think extremes are a really good way to draw upon when you're trying to give an example. So let's use the war zone situation, okay? And survival of the species is rooted in the red chakra that you see here at the feet. Now, as I said before, the yellow chakra is about being centered and calm. The orange chakra is about being frightened and fearful. While it's got the positive attributes of creativity and passion and all of these kind of things, I'm talking about dysfunction in the chakras, or the first stages of the chakras, shall we say. So the yellow is where anger sits and fear. So if we would hear the gunshots in the horizon, for example, the red chakra is going to be the first one that jumps into action. It's going to be like, uh-oh, danger. That's the base survival kicking in. The next stage is going to be the thought like, heck, how far away is it? Am I safe? Do I need to do something? And that is where a person is going to respond, or they're going to react. Now, the fear-based person might become paralyzed by fear and say, I can see I'm going to crawl under the bed, or I'm going to do X and Y. But they're not actually going to actively do anything to change their situation. Now, just to be clear, crawling under the bed might be the best option, okay, especially if it's something like an earthquake, I don't know. But you know what I mean? That first initial reaction might be the best thing to be doing, but it's also a knee-jerk reaction. So to establish then what is the wisest decision to make is actually to clearly outline your options and to ask, call upon the Creator, God, whatever name you want to call, or honor the divine, the eternal. You would then pose the questions and take that quiet space within the crisis, and it doesn't need to take a long time because it happens quickly, which is you could ask, just sit there in that quiet moment, take a couple of breaths, do the sacred breath, and ask, is it in my best interest to crawl under the bed? Yes or no, right? That's how you tell, because what will happen is your answer at the very least is going to come in the form of tingling and energy, or even a heaviness. Now, a really good way of establishing it is you ask the question and then you get a whole heap of butterflies in that orange chakra area, which is actually a little bit lower down than this image. I might need to recreate this image, but do have a look. You can feel where the orange chakra is. I'm going to be a little graphic. Hopefully I'm not going to get YouTube censored, but basically your orange chakra is, if you're a lady, it's above your mound, okay? It's there, and it's about the size, I think, of what we in the West call a bread and butter plate. I'll let you do your own measurements. And the solar plexus, the yellow one, is about the size of your average entree or dinner plate, okay? And that one's kind of your belly button's in the middle of your dinner plate, if this makes sense. So going back to it, if the answer is negative, or no, that's unwise, or you may want to rethink your plans of jumping under the bed, your orange chakra is going to get some tingling happen in it. You might even get some butterflies. That should be a really good indicator that actually, no, you're picking the wrong choice here, or the unhealthy or unwise choice. So then you would put forward your next scenarios. Now, other times when we're actually connecting to our divine guidance, it might skip the whole orange one altogether. You might, when you ask the question, go straight into boom, I know what needs to be done. There'll be that, for me, when I get it, excuse me, I just need to cough. I'm quite energy susceptive and energy aware. And so for me, what I get is almost a tingling and a heaviness that will happen in the yellow chakra with this. It's just, I know I've got to. This is what I've got to do. Now, the other thing too is that when you're stepping into your power and acting upon your guidance, sometimes you might find that actually you've asked the question and that your body starts to go into motion and you automatically know what it is that you need to be doing. So, this is about the personal power in our decision making. And it's where our decision making supports our base survival needs, but it's doing it in practical ways in alignment with divine will, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense to you. If you're not sure, if you need me to explain it a bit more, feel free to leave a comment and I will respond. So this video is getting a bit long, so my apologies for this. I will speed it up and just now talk about the metaphysical properties of yellow that are attributed to it. Because it is over the yellow chakra, it's considered to be particularly useful for purifying any disease that is within the digestive area, and particularly conditions such as diabetes, the intestinal tract, and although the bowel is situated in the lower chakras, which of course is the red and the orange, the process starts higher up in the yellow chakra. So it's beneficial for helping to cleanse anything to do with the intestine and bowels. It's also considered to assist with the easing of conditions such as arthritis and releasing toxicity within the aura. And this is believed to help skin conditions. So that's interesting to know. So, the activity today is about doing a clearing and a cleansing, a detoxification of your body, mind, and spirit. And this, of course, detoxification creates a space within your aura for new and healthy, okay, and positive. So, the simple activity is one, of course, where we're meditating or sitting outdoors. When you sit outdoors, just a reminder here, you do not have to sit in this position unless you feel like it. Frankly, I don't do that because I'm not that flexible. But anyway, moving on. What you do is you spend some time outdoors. If you're in Australia, certainly limit your time. Okay, don't spend a lot of time because too much of a good thing might result in skin conditions such as cancer, because that's what happens in Australia. But anyway, use your common sense. Don't be outdoors for a long time. You only need to sit in the sunlight for a very brief period of time, okay? Sit there, visualize this bright yellow sunlight moving through your entire digestive system and clearing and all of your body organs, especially the digestive tract, if I can talk, the body organs such as the pancreas and the bowel, and that this sunlight is removing all the toxicity within your mind, body, and spirit. It's dissolving any toxicity, any stuckness, so that you can become a cleaner and healthier vessel. Now, do your few minutes of that, and then when you're ready, go inside and pour yourself some water into a yellow glass and place it in the sunlight for an hour or so before you drink the water. Now, as you drink the water, imagine it purifying, as I said, repeating, mind, body, and spirit, and make the affirmation you see here. I now allow for a full cleansing of my mind and body at a cellular level, inside and out. Thanks be. Okay, that's an example of how you can do it. There is actually other activities that you can do similar to this one that are associated with reclaiming your personal power, but I think I'll put them onto another video in the future. For now, though, I'm going to leave this video here and say thank you very much again for being part of my journey. I invite you to leave comments, questions, thoughts, beliefs, anything in the description so that we can all grow and learn from it. And for now, though, I'm just going to say, look, have a wonderful day, glorious day, blessed week, take care of yourself, and see you on the next video. Bye-bye for now.